prosper. So come on. I do not own copyrights to this music. It is Mindset Monday, and I entitled this Your Environment Matters. So before we get started, we already know the drill, right? We're gonna hit the subscribe button, make sure the bell is checked so that you can get notifications, and share this information with someone. If you get something from this, take what you need, what you don't need, share, right? So let's get right into it. Also, I stated that I do not own copyrights to this music. Music has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Hopefully, it's not too loud and you guys can hear me clearly. However, I'm just in a zone. So I'm just going to continue to share some happiness or whatever. But again, the music hopefully is not too loud. My topic for today, because it is Mindset Monday, and we do know that the mind is an amazing, powerful, emotional, it's all kinds of things because the physical, not just the physical structure of it, just the mental power that it has over everything that we do and who we actually are and who we become. So for me, your mindset can determine your entire being. And it's just about how you see things. So keeping in mind that the mind matters, I want you to also know that your environment matters. Why do I say that? And trust me, believe, I was one of those people who used to say, it doesn't matter what's around me, who's around me, because I'm my own person. And the last thing that I'm going to do is be persuaded by someone else because they choose to do something a certain way, or because they move a certain way. Like I move according to my own tune. And I'm my own person. And I had a very strong, opinion about that. And trust me, I still feel the same way. However, along with experiences, you gain wisdom from it. At least you're supposed to, according to how your mind is. So I learned from a personal experience that, yeah, I'm my own person and all those things. But eventually, if you sit in something long enough, it starts to become a part of you. And I can even say that just in a crazy way, if you're cooking or even if you're in someone else's house, if you're just in a certain aroma for a certain amount of time, once you walk away, you take that aroma with you. I don't care if you're cooking chicken, if you're cooking whatever it is, even if you're just surrounded by a bunch of air fresheners, if you sit there long enough, you take it with you when you walk away. And I say that to say your environment matters. Again, even when I, was at a job before, and it's probably about some years ago, and I always moved to my own beat, all those things. But you guys, after a while, I'm like, and I used to tell everybody else, like, people at my job, sometimes I just don't understand where they are and whatnot. However, after time went along, because again, work, medical field, I spent the majority of my time on my job. I would go home, and sometimes I would pull a 16-hour shift. And it wasn't until one time, I went to work and I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know if I want to be here." Just my energy was just different and I couldn't put a finger on it. And I took vacation, right? I took vacation, took some time off, ended up getting on my own schedule. Like I would pick my own schedule, do things like, how I could work. Because I was also going to school at the time. So you guys, I got away from work and it was good to be on vacation. I don't care what you're vacationing from or to. A vacation, if you have me time on that vacation time, it's a refresher. It's a waker upper. It's a breath of fresh air. So you guys, I went back to work, and again, I had been on vacation for I think I took a 2-week vacation, and I was just in a space. I was in a space. I was happy. I was excited. I was just peaceful. I can't really explain it. I was just at peace with whatever it is that I was doing. I didn't really go anywhere. I'm a person that just likes to get in my car and travel. That's just my therapy. So I didn't really go on a vacation. Vacation, I had just taken time away from the job. I got back to work, um, and the energy was just so draining. It was, and I'm not a morning person either, but I think this particular morning I took a morning shift. I worked third shift, but I ended up staying over extra to help with first shift. Again, I'm not a morning person. I've been a third shifter, second shifter my entire working career. And this time, I'm like, okay, I prefer to go home. Normally I am at home, but I decided to stay over and help. You guys, after coming back off vacation, staying that morning, I was happy because I just came back off vacation. I was in my own zone and just feeling good. It wasn't until I got back to work that I realized, prior to vacation, I was just kind of going with the flow. When I had to be there, I was there. When I didn't have to be there, cool, kudos. Didn't realize that my environment had started to, yeah, attach itself to me. And I got there that morning and the energy, nobody was happy. But I'm like, this is first shift, right? And I guess depending on the type of person you are, you accept certain shifts, hopefully. So I'm like, okay, people who work first shift, they gotta be a morning person. They like to get up, they're excited, they had a coffee, whatever. I'm not a coffee person. But anywho, I just figured if you can be or if you can work a first shift job, you should be a morning person. Well, I stayed over and energy was just it was just down. And I did what I did my job, paid no attention, um, kept somehow fitting into that same schedule, right? To where I would be there during the daytime now. And after a while, I'm like, oh, this is just I started to feel sucky. And when I got home, I felt sucky. And I just was sucky the entire time. And I'm like, what is this? That environment, it made a difference. And mind you, I'm always my own person. I am strong on that. You cannot get me to follow the leader unless I want to follow the leader. I'm just not persuaded easily. But it was just the energy, man. It had attached itself to me and I didn't realize it. I now know family at home and everybody else kind of realized that my attitude was sucky too. I didn't realize it. It was just I had done spent some time in that position on that shift, and before I knew it, I was becoming unhappy. I was drained. I was sucky. And then, one day I'm just like, nah, forget this. It's not, I can't. I'm not a morning shift. Everybody came in that morning. One morning, this is probably weeks later. Everybody came in, and I'm like, came in, good morning. Nobody said anything. I'm like, good morning. I was like, okay, whatever. You don't speak, I don't speak either. Environment. Man, I had to do some praying. I had to. So the next time I tried it again, I'm like the next morning, I'm like, good morning. Nobody spoke. So this time, instead of me just be like, whatever, I don't care, I don't want to speak to y'all either. I said it even louder with a huge smile on my face, and like I just bust out laughing because I had to realize, like, for real, I was starting to let that soak in, and that was about to be me. I didn't realize that I was following along with the energy of the job, but I did. And it was because the entire environment was that. Nobody seemed to be upbeat, seemed like they wanted to be there. And I get it. I can't say I get it. I get it. Sometimes, when it comes to a job, you have to do what you have to do to make sure home is taken care of. However, comma, I also use that term very lightly that I understand because this is a heart job. This is a medical field. And I feel like if your heart is not completely in it, and if you're just there for the paycheck, you need to find something else to do. I was very keen on telling anybody that any young person that came to me and said this is what they wanted to do, I'm like, listen, it's not in you. don't be in it. And I take that very seriously. So, I said all of that to say, you guys, your environment matters compared to, I eventually, like literally a month later, I left the job, right? I left the job and I was just, you know, trying something new. Still in the medical field, but I was just taking a break to where my environment was totally different. It was peaceful. It was positive, and it was a place of growth. It was a place that I could grow. That made all the difference in my entire being. That made a difference in how I started to think, how I could think. Because if you're in an environment that is down, that is sucky, that is draining, before you know it, you will become your environment. And even after you're away, if you take a step away from that environment, if you're not careful, you're gonna take that same energy with you. And to me, again, I'm a person who, nobody dictates who I am or how I decide to be. However, if you're in it long enough, you become a part of it, or it becomes a part of you. It attaches itself to you. And even now to this day, not decades later, at least years later, I am now, my environment kept changing, but I was very cautious about what my environment is. Even people, one time I would sit with people, if it's somebody that I like, not like, if I was hanging out with friends and they were amongst other people that I didn't know, I felt like, it's okay. I can associate with anyone, and I still can. However, if it's not really my cup of tea, why would I sip it? If I know it's something that is not of who the person I am, if it's something that's going on or it's an environment that's not really me, why would I want to adapt myself to it if it's not? You see what I'm saying? It's a difference in, I can be cordial, or I can, there's a time and a place for everything. However, choose your places wisely, because if you're not careful, your environment will be what you become. It will definitely be that. And I get to see the full picture now because I'm in a space, again, I trade and invest, but this entire organization is just a place where everyone that you 90% of the people that you're around are going to have common goals, are setting themselves up for greatness, for success, because this is what they've decided that they want it to be. So you're in an equal playing field. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here trying to focus, or I'm not in a math class, or I'm not going to math class with a social studies teacher, if I said that correctly. My metaphor. I get it. I understand. And again, so now being the person that I am, I have to now fit myself into environments that can relate to who I want to be. That is gonna give me the air to breathe, the strength to grow into who I need to be, because let's be real. We're still in life. No matter what environment you're in, you're still living this thing called life. And life can bring things at you when you don't know, when you're not looking forward to it, when you're not even, or when you don't even think that you're prepared for it. But if you're in a strong environment, if you're in a positive environment, if you're in an uplifting environment, an environment that allows you to be what you need to be, or that gives you the tools that you need to be who you want to become, that's what you'll be. I promise. But if you're in an environment that is not so good, and I won't say not so good, that is not relatable to the person that you are, or the person that you want to become, you're going to be what you sit in. I say, watch the company that you keep. And I used to hear that all the time from my elders, from my grandparents. They watch the company that you keep and da da da. You know, I always told myself I don't have to be who I hang around. But before I knew it, even if I didn't do the things that they did that wasn't me, I became okay with it happening. I became okay with what was going on around me. However, just recently it wasn't the person that I am. And the person that I am would not have chosen to do the things that are around me. And now I'm okay with it because it's the environment that I chose to sit myself in. Think about it. I don't know what age you are, my viewers, but you're you're as old as you feel, or you're as young as you feel. So depending on your age and yeah, your generation, um, think about the people or the environment that you used to be in compared to the environment that you're in now. And I'm slowly saying that because unfortunately there are people who are in the same environment that they started in. But even then, use that for an example. Is there a difference in that? Do you see a difference in, and I'll just say myself, for example, when I was younger, I would do whatever, if it was exciting, if it was something that I wanted to do, I would do it. And that was the environment that I was in. And so the environment that I was in, that I placed myself in, only allowed me to grow as big as the environment that I was in. Environment that I was in was partying, hanging out, drinking, um, clubbing, whatever you want to call it. It was that type of environment. However, I let's just say grew up one day or realized that we were older one day, and I'm like, I just got so it was a rude awakening. I realized the only reason that my life was work, home, and partying is because my environment only reached that far. My environment was only fun time. It was only loud. It was only outrageous things. So I could only be a person that would fit into that work because I needed the money to party, to go out, to do those things. Home, I still took care of home. But then all of my other time, when it was clock out time, it was to the club or it was hanging out or it was, yeah, those things. However, when I did wake up and realize that I was older and I wanted more, I became so bored with that environment. Like I could not, there was no way, even when I decided, hey, I want a career or I want to go to school, I could not stay in that same environment. That environment, the people that were in that environment did not understand that, hey, this weekend I need to stay at home and study. Or hey, I gotta go and actually, take care of business because that wasn't a part of that environment. They couldn't understand. They wouldn't understand. I had to now move myself into an environment that would understand the person that I wanted to become, that would give me the space to become the person that I wanted to become. So now my environment looked like people who went to school or people who wanted other things or people who literally needed that time or had that space. And now my environment was, when it's time to study, I either have someone around me that, oh, okay, I'll go ahead, study, I'll talk to you later. Or yeah, I gotta go to class, or what's your schedule? It's those things that you have in common. You have to change your environment. Your environment matters. It doesn't just matter because, whether it's a partying environment, it matters because you will become your environment. So you can say all day long that, hey, I'm this person and I want to do these things. But if your environment doesn't have space for that, you won't become that. If you don't have people in your environment, because your environment is just not a place or that it is a place that includes things, that includes people, that includes personalities and energy and all those things. And so your environment will determine who you will become, because in that environment you have people, you have things, you have issues um, that will come based upon who you are. I want to be a successful person. I want to be a happy person. I want to be a person who explores life, who, you know, just becomes the greatness that I was born to actually be. I'll never be able to do that in the environment that I used to be in. An environment full of chaos and loudness and, partying. Now I party quietly. You can still have fun. It's just how you have fun. Now my fun is with a group of people who are going for their goals, who, I can sit and have an intellectual conversation with, who, when I say, when the conversation is about wealth, or when the conversation is about um, growth, they understand what I mean. They get what I'm trying to say. And that makes all the difference. I hope I wasn't rambling just to ramble, because I literally had, topic of what I wanted to say when it came to environment. However, sometimes the spirit will lead you elsewhere. And I've been so full of that all day. And I'm enjoying it though. I'm enjoying it though. And I'm not ashamed of it. That's the next thing. Your environment. Try staying in an environment with low vibrations, or an environment that is just about partying, or an environment full of people who don't understand or who wouldn't understand, because that's not the life that they want to live. You'll be ashamed to go and talk about the greatness that you've accomplished, or the success that you have. It's almost like it's not allowed. Your environment has to match with who you want to become. If you want to just be free and, not have a care in the world, not think about anything, not think about anyone, you will never fit into an environment of people who has the opposite vision. If you want to be someone who is successful in everything that they do, who wants to step out on faith, who wants to believe in the unbelievable, or what we thought was, you know, out of our reach, you'll never be able to do that in an environment that is about partying, or that is about chaos, or, people who literally haven't seen or haven't gained a lot of experiences in life. So, who you become or who you want to become depends greatly on your environment. Yes, take that from the person who always said, I'm my own person, and, you know, I don't follow the leader. And even in an environment that I'm in now, where, everyone is running for goals and, talking about owning things, ownership of things is, the conversation is different. It hits different. And even in that, I'm my own person, but I can relate. The environment relates to me, and it's not a different energy. It's not me being trying to be a basketball player and going over here in a tennis academy. That's Two totally different things. I mean, both sports, because we are, whatever environment you're in, you still are in life, you're still living. But you want to go to the environment that resonates with the person that you're trying to become. You will never get where you want to go by staying where you've always been. And if you enjoy the environment that much, then ultimately you'll always enjoy the person that you are. No growth, no more wisdom, no knowledge, no nothing. You just, it takes no energy to be someone different. If I want to be the same person that I was 10 years ago, I would have not needed any nothing. I would have, it was no work in that. But with time, with experiences came wisdom, and I now know who I want to be, what I want to do, what I want out of life. And I'll never be able to do that in the environment that I started in. So, if no one ever told you, if your elders never told you, watch the company that you keep, I'm here to tell you, watch the company that you keep, because ultimately you will become that. There was a saying, and I think I got it from one of the leaders, and it's your network will determine your net worth. Trying to think Bob Proctor, which he's also in our organization. So I got it from a leader in the organization. That makes a difference. It really does. And when I say net worth, it's not necessarily to measure you by dollar signs, but your network, which is your surrounding, your people, whoever, whatever it is, will determine your net worth, your value, the person that you are, what you have to offer, all of that. So I'm going to just leave you with that little quote. I'm sure I'll go in my notes to find out who said it later. But keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, Be a person, be free, be nice to everybody, say hey, give a good energy, positive energy. Hopefully you're not a downer. Hopefully you're not like the environment that was on a sucky one. Hopefully you're not that person. So try to be nice. Make it your business to be nice to everyone, because everyone is someone. However, just because I wave at you doesn't mean that I have to sit down with you, especially if it's not my section in life. Respect everyone for where they are, and where they're trying to go, but be focused on where you are and who you want to become. Again, it is Mindset Monday. Your mind is a powerful tool, and it will get you, it will take you places. As a kid, our imagination was everything. It brought us a lot of happiness, a lot of hope. So use your mind wisely. Let it take you places. And so that is it for today. I really, I don't want to constantly going on, and my phone is going off, and it is that time. But Mindset Monday, keep in mind that your mind matters. Your environment is everything. So until next time, you already know, right? Be blessed.